a pair of Big East rivals take the hardwood on Friday night. That's tonight. They meet in Capital One, in the nation's capital. Villanova versus Georgetown. Villanova, a 10-point road favorite, ladies and gentlemen. 10-point road favorite with a total of only 139, 140 a couple places. So if you're interested in total, make sure that you hunt for the best price, the best number. Villanova looks pretty plain. They look pretty simple. They look pretty vanilla on paper at first glance. 13-11 straight up, 13-11 against the spread. They're coming off a nice win over Seton Hall. They have played really well. Their best basketball has come in the last 3 games. That followed a 5-game losing streak. And even in their best games, the last 3, they were only 2-1. They did lose one of those games. Georgetown, they've been awful. We knew they were going to be awful this year. First-year coach Ed Cooley is not going to sacrifice a coaching moment just to get a win. He took over a 2-28 team, and his goal is to coach this team up, and he is not disappointed. He's coaching them up. They're better than they were last year. Hard not to be when you're 2-28. Tonight, first meeting between these two. They'll play another one a little later on. The slow grind of coaching this young Villanova team up is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. And many people, especially their fan base, their loyal fan base. But in the last 3 games, they have not allowed more than 60 points. This followed 2 games where they allowed over 85 points in each game. It's where they were in a 5-game losing streak. They're finally getting it. They're not turning the ball over. They value possessions of the ball. They do not give away free possessions. They're going to win the possessions battle. They believe, and I believe that too, that any extra possessions this Villanova team has is going to be extremely painful for their opponent. Now, if you look at their numbers, you're going to say, again, that they're fairly vanilla, very plain, an average pedestrian team, right? KenPom, which is a reliable and respectable and well-viewed website as far as college basketball teams and how they're rated and are they better than the record. The metrics, the underlying peripherals, Pomeroy does a great job of that. And he thinks this team, Villanova, at 13-11, is the 34th best team in the country. 34th. He thinks the defense is the 21st best defense in the country. They're playing that way the last 3 games. Technically sound basketball. Their shot selection, top tier. Improved night and day over a month ago. They shot 54% from the field in their last game, 40% from the 3-line. Now, 13-11, 8th place in the league standings. This team is in the field of 68 right now today, unless they melt down, they're there. Georgetown is not even going to be a tournament team. Any tournament team, they're not going to be invited to go anywhere. They're going to be resting their tired legs and their sore hammies after after basically a whole season of Ed Cooley coaching them up and running them hard and getting them in shape. They'll be back. They'll be better next year. But right now, they're awful defensively, and they make hay on offense. Listen. They execute the offense fairly well, but they can't get out of their way when they're trying to guard somebody. So, I'm going to make a request real quick before I get to the conclusion of this preview, and that request is that you hit your subscribe button. Help us help you. You're going to get all updated schedules, any schedule changes, Wager Talk, breaking news, maybe player or team breaking news. But if you're looking for home runs, hat tricks, if you're looking for the best sports information and entertainment on the planet, Wager Talk is your man or woman, depending on your preference. So if you're not familiar with Georgetown or the Big East and you don't watch a lot of that, or maybe you watch it and you already know all this, the defense for Georgetown, to be nice, again, pitiful. The Hoyas have dropped 12 of the last 13. The only victory they have at home is against a team that's less than them, and that's hard to do, but DePaul. DePaul's another one of these teams in the Big East that they're the doormat. And if you don't beat DePaul, then you're going to have a hard time explaining that to the selection committee on Sunday, the Sunday selection committee. KenPom ranks Georgetown 184th, and that's not good for a Big East team. That's one of the lowest, other than DePaul this year, in the last 20 years. 2 teams below 175 in the KenPom ranking has not happened. It did this year. Hold your nose. plug your ears. Georgetown ranks 311th defensively. That's out of 362 teams, Division I teams. If you were to look at Nova and look at their numbers and say this is a team that's pedestrian, they're giving 10 on the road, that's crazy, it's not crazy. Nova will cover this 10 tonight by halftime. They will stretch it out and win by 20 plus. You can play this in several different ways. You can play Nova minus a 10 for the game. I would say, listen, play them first half, play them game, and play the over the total. Georgetown's been both these teams have been pretty good to the over because, first off, Villanova was struggling to defend, and Georgetown still hasn't figured out how to defend. Villanova Wildcats tonight in Capital One against the Hoyas. Win, cover, and do so by margin. Thanks so much for dropping by. See you next week.